Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the English Podcast, the podcast that helps you improve your English. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the English Podcast, the podcast that helps you improve your English one step at a time. I'm Sarah, and here with me is Michael.
Hey, everybody. I'm Michael, and today, we're diving into a super useful topic, phrasal verbs.
Yes, phrasal verbs are a huge part of everyday English. They might seem confusing at first, but don't worry. We're here to break them down, give examples, and make them easy to remember. Right, Michael?
Absolutely. So, if you're ready to take your English to the next level, let's get started with some phrasal verbs.
Let's start with the basics. A phrasal verb is a combination of a verb and a preposition or adverb. Together, they create a new meaning that's different from the verb alone. Michael, would you like to give an example?
Sure. Let's look at take. By itself, take might mean to grab or to hold. But if we add off and say to take off, it can mean removing something like clothes. For example, I take off my shoes when I enter the house.
Right. And take off has another meaning too. When we talk about planes, take off means for the plane to leave the ground. You might hear, our flight takes off at 5 p.m. So, same phrase, two different meanings depending on the context.
Exactly. And that's one reason why phrasal verbs can be challenging but also really fun to learn. Once you get the hang of them, they're everywhere. Let's move on to some phrasal verbs with get. Sound good, Sarah?
Great idea, Michael. One of the most common ones is get up. It means to rise, especially in the morning. Like, I get up at 7 a.m. every day.
And you can also use it to encourage someone. Like, come on, get up. It's time to start the day.
Perfect example. Another useful one is put on. It means to wear something like clothes. So you could say, I put on my jacket before I go outside.
A helpful tip for remembering it is to picture yourself putting something on your body, like shoes or a shirt.
Absolutely. And let's not forget run out of. This means to have no more of something. Like, I ran out of coffee this morning, so I had to go to the store.
That's a good one. And you can run out of anything like time, patience, or money. Speaking of coffee, Sarah, have you ever run out of something at the worst possible time?
Oh, yes. Just last week, I ran out of gas on my way to work. Not the best way to start the day, let me tell you.
See, phrasal verbs are everywhere, even in our daily struggles. So, listeners, learning these will help you sound more natural and understand everyday conversations.
Let's make this fun. We'll practice these phrasal verbs with a quick dialogue. I'll start. Oh no. I forgot to set my alarm, and now I need to get up fast.
Haha. You're always running late, Sarah. Did you run out of time to get everything ready yesterday?
Actually, I ran out of energy. I was so tired after work that I just put on my pajamas and went straight to bed.
Maybe you'll have to make a coffee stop today. Just don't run out of patience if there's a line.
Good advice, Michael. So, listeners, remember to try these out too. You can make up mini stories with phrasal verbs to practice.
Speaking of practice, let's explore some phrasal verbs with look. These are really useful. One example is look for, which means to search for something. Like, I'm looking for my keys. Have you seen them?
Oh, yes. And another one is look after, which means to take care of someone or something. Like, I look after my little sister when my mom is busy.
And there's look forward to, which means to be excited about something in the future. For example, I look forward to our podcast every week.
Thanks, Michael. And we can't forget look up, which means to search for information, especially in a book or online. Like, I'll look up the answer if I don't know it.
Perfect. So, remember these phrasal verbs with look? They're super useful and easy to fit into conversations.
Let's try another exercise, Michael. I'll say a sentence with a blank, and you have to guess the phrasal verb that fits. Ready?
Ready. Let's do it.
Okay, first one. I usually. Early in the morning to exercise.
That's get up. Easy one. I usually get up early in the morning to exercise.
Nice. Here's another. Oops, I think milk. Could you buy some more?
That would be run out of. Okay, I'm on a roll. I think we run out of milk. Could you buy some more?
Good job.
All right, last one. I'm really at our trip next week.
Look forward to. I'm really look forward to our trip next week. I think I passed the test.
You did. And listeners, try making your own sentences to practice using phrasal verbs in context.
Before we wrap up, let's talk about phrasal verbs with take. Like take off, which we mentioned earlier. It can mean to remove something or for a plane to leave the ground. For example, I take off my shoes when I get home.
Another one is take after, which means to resemble someone, usually in your family. Like, she takes after her mother with her love of cooking.
Good one. And don't forget take care of, which means to look after someone or something. For example, I take care of my pet dog.
Awesome. Now, let's share a few study tips for phrasal verbs.
Great idea. One tip is to learn them by grouping similar verbs together, like we did today with looked and take verbs.
Another tip is to use flashcards. Write the phrasal verb on one side and an example sentence on the other.
And practice is key. Try using them in real conversations or writing sentences. The more you use them, the easier they'll be to remember.
Here's another way to practice. Try to notice phrasal verbs when you watch movies or read in English. You'll be surprised at how often they show up.
Absolutely. For example, if you're watching a series, listen for characters using phrasal verbs. You might hear give up when they're frustrated or hold on when they're waiting for something.
Great idea. And don't be afraid to experiment. Try using new phrasal verbs in conversations, even if it feels a bit awkward at first. The more you try, the more natural it becomes.
So, that's it for today's episode. We hope you feel more confident about phrasal verbs and inspired to keep learning.
Absolutely. Phrasal verbs can be tricky, but they're so useful. So keep practicing and don't give up.
Thanks for listening to the English podcast. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone, and happy learning.